The Hawk, the Hound, and the Butterfly. Chapter 10, Athena, Part 2. The city was waking up as Athena, Ares, and a sulky Apollo made their way through the streets. They passed shopkeepers setting up for the day's trade, and drunks sneaking back to their homes. Athena kept her head down, avoiding eye contact. She wanted to make it through the city as quickly and as quietly as possible, although it was difficult with Ares riding behind her, waving and calling out good morning to everyone they saw. They passed through the city gates, and Athena saluted the men on guard duty. One of them was Archon. He waved and motioned her aside. "Keep going. I'll catch up," Athena said to Ares. "What are you—" Athena glared at Apollo. He snapped his mouth shut and continued on behind Ares. Athena pulled her horse to the side of the path, enough so they were out of earshot of anyone passing by. "What are you doing on guard duty?" Athena asked. "Just wanted to make sure I got to see you off," answered Archon. "How noble of you," Athena said, raising an eyebrow. Archon smiled. "So, are you going to tell me what this secret mission you're going on is?" "It won't be secret for you, not for much longer. When does the council meet?" "An hour or so," Archon shrugged. "Good." Athena wanted to make sure they were long gone and down the road by the time news of what they were up to was out. "How long do you think you'll be gone for?" "Shouldn't be more than a few days, depending on how long this conversation will go for." Archon smiled his cocky smile. "Well, don't worry about us. I'll keep the men working hard." "Good. Thank you, Archon. I'm glad I can trust you." Athena looked up to see how far Ares and Apollo had gotten. They were still within sight, Ares' spear brushing up against the leaves as it passed. "And Athena, come back in one piece, won't you?" Archon said. Athena nodded. She wondered why he doubted that she wouldn't make it back in one piece. She shook her head, letting the thought fade. "Goodbye, Archon," Athena said. She galloped down the path to catch up. It wasn't until the trio were deep into the red wood did any of them dare speak of the mission. Eyes and ears were everywhere, but this far beyond the city gates, they would be safe. Of course, the first one to utter any words was Ares. "So, what's the plan?" Ares looked over his shoulder at Athena. "We go swinging in, lopping off heads first, asking questions later?" "I don't think a headless body would have much to say," Apollo said. Ares chuckled. "I found a base in the Kali forest. The Tekkens were trying to keep it secret," Athena said, keeping her eyes on the trees as she spoke. The birds called to each other. The horses snorted and grunted. Wind rustled through the leaves on the trees. "We'll go there and see if we can figure out where they've sent Artemis." "Great. Sounds like a fully fleshed out plan." Ares grinned. Athena exhaled. Ares looked over at Apollo, but got no reaction. "Okay then. So tell me, how exactly were the Tekkens able to kidnap our little Artie? Doesn't the old man always have guards on her?" Athena glanced at Apollo. Those doleful blue eyes were staring at her. She couldn't deal with them, not this early. "I'll go scout ahead," Athena said. Before anyone could object, she squeezed her legs against her horse and clicked her tongue. Thunder galloped on ahead. Athena couldn't listen to Apollo recount how he managed to let Artemis get taken. Not again. She wouldn't be able to hold her tongue or her fists. It never would have happened if it were her. She wouldn't allow it to. It was hard to believe that someone who was, supposedly, of the same flesh and blood as her, did let it happen. Athena wondered sometimes how she and Apollo were related. Perhaps because he was so different is the reason he was their mother's favorite child. Their mother had never said it out aloud, but Athena always knew it was true. When she'd taught him to play her lyre, he picked it up so quickly she praised him for how clever he was. Athena didn't see what the big deal was. It was just a useless instrument. It's not like it would help you if you were in a battle against an entire army that wanted your blood. What could you do? Play them a song and they'd lay down their weapons? Only a fool would. Athena continued through the forest, and the voices of Ares and Apollo grew faint. Keeping the main road on her right, Athena diverted her path through the trees. The river was nearby, water lapping the side of the bank. The air was cool, But it wouldn't be long before they were met with the heat of Medina. A sweet scent of flowers drifted through the air. It was relaxing not hearing Apollo's whiny voice piercing her ears, or seeing his miserable face. The serenity didn't last long. A soft humming noise, like a hive of angry bees, came from ahead. Athena clicked her tongue, and thunder quickened his pace. They weaved through the trees and came out into an opening with a tall, leafless silver tree. Athena dismounted her horse and approached the tree. It wasn't a tree at all, but a structure made from metal. The top of it stretched up, breaking through the canopy. The metal branches were as straight as the horizon and perfectly even all the way around. At the end of each branch were small boxes with faint glowing red lights on them. Athena knocked her foot against the base of the trunk. It vibrated through the whole structure, a hollow echo inside. Of all the places in Arcadia Athena had been, she had never seen anything like the metal tower before her. And yet, here it was, not far outside the capital's boundary lines. A glint of light reflected in Athena's eyes. There was something at the base of the structure. A tuft of grass had grown up around an engraving. Athena knelt down and brushed the grass aside. Staring back at her was a spiked mace. Athena clenched her jaw. Her ears grew red, and her fingers curled into fists. How could they have gotten so close? Patrols were sent out from the city each night to keep an eye out for anything suspicious. Someone mustn't have been doing their job. Athena leapt up onto her horse and galloped back onto the main road. Ares had been in battle with Athena many times before, and because of it, they knew each other well. As Athena approached and Ares took one look at her, his hand immediately went for his spear. "Where are they?" Ares asked. Athena shook her head. "Up ahead. There's a clearing with a metal tower. Definitely Tekken. No bodies. They may be nearby." Athena nodded. "A metal tower? Like a watchtower?" Apollo asked. "No, it wouldn't fit a man inside it. Come, I'll show you." Ares and Apollo followed Athena through the woods into the clearing. "It's humming," Apollo said, as he dismounted from his horse and joined Athena and Ares. "What could it be?" "Whatever it is, it'd be better if it were destroyed," Athena said. She dug into her pack and pulled out a coil of rope. Athena tied a knot into one end with a wide loop. Taking several steps back, Athena could just see the top of the tower. With her foot planted on the end to anchor the rope, Athena whipped the looped rope above her head, and once she had enough momentum, she swung it upwards towards the top of the tower. The rope wrapped around the top that poked out through the canopy. Ares already had another rope out, and was doing the same. "Care to help us, little prince?" Athena glared at Apollo as she tugged on the rope hard, fastening it around the top point. If he had to be there, he might as well be put to use. "Oh, sure," Apollo said. "Take this," Athena said, as she shoved the end of the rope into Apollo's hands. "Tie it onto one of the horses." Apollo nodded and scampered off. Athena hurled another rope over the tower and tied it to her own horse. There were now 3 ropes tied to the top of the structure and attached to all 3 horses on the ground. "You two get ready," Athena said. Ares and Apollo sat either side of her on their horses. Apollo nodded. "You know me. I'm always ready," Ares winked. "Okay, on my say-so then." Athena gripped the reins of her horse. "Go!" She dug her thighs into her horse. All 3 of them pushed forward. The rope snapped taut. "Keep going." Athena could feel the strength of the tower as her horse pulled. The ropes were straining, but still intact. Athena gritted her teeth and urged her horse forward. The earth around the tower began to crack. The horses surged forward. "Keep going," Athena called. "Come on, girl." Ares rubbed his horse between her ears. A loud bang echoed through the trees. The horses lurched forward. Sparks flew off the tower. It rattled and groaned as it came crashing towards the ground. The boxes on the end of the branches smashed into hundreds of tiny pieces. The humming sound fizzled out. Ares threw his fist into the sky. He whooped. "Good boy," Athena said to her horse. She scratched her fingers through her horse's mane. Athena dismounted and slowly walked over to the debris. She knelt down beside one of the smashed-up boxes. Small springs, nuts, bolts, cogs and screws were strewn all over the ground. Athena had never seen technology like it before. She didn't understand it. The Tekkens could have their machines, but they were nothing compared to her with a sword in her hands. "They're going to know something's happened," Apollo said, appearing beside Athena. "They're going to come looking." Athena stood. "Good," Athena smiled. "We'll be waiting for them."